Welcome to the Ohio Fly Tying Guild. I'm Gary Begley, and the guild is a function of the Buckeye United Fly Fishers, my local fly fishing club, Cincinnati, Ohio. And it is in conjunction with the Ohio Council of Fly Fishers International. I'm the tying director. Now, that said, if you've joined in any of the prior guilds, you'll note that I'm here alone as opposed to having several people with me. Well, when I actually tied, this will be the second round for me tying these flies. The first one, I did have good attendance. I always appreciate the people that attend and the questions that they ask. But I frankly just didn't get the recording started properly. So it's either I had to make a call, either ignore session 8 or tie the flies again. Simple matter of tying the flies again. Said to find some time. Here we go. First fly tied is a stripped peacock and herl. Talk about stripping peacock herl. To describe 2 or 3 methods, and I'll show you what I use. They don't tie a lot of stripped herl bodies. So off to now this next camera is going to be the bird cam today. I got nothing else to show but birds, maybe and mixing dubbing. So you got everybody probably recognizes that peacock eyed stick they call it, and all I need to tie this fly besides the hook and a thread would be one of these herl up here, which I'm going to strip, and one from down here on the bottom, which will be the thorax portion. All right, so I need to strip the herl off of one of these, and I got this one here that I got off up by the eye, close to the eye, certainly a little bit wider, I think. I'm aware of a few different methods. Some tyers like to put their thumbnail on and just pull through, and that doesn't work so well for me. I'm sure it does for some people. I have seen people utilize a razor blade and lay it down on the table and then pull through, and that starts getting some of the herl off, or some of the fluid, I should say. Now, there's also a method where you can burn it off with bleach mixture. Now, I don't know the proportions of this. I don't utilize this. If you're going to do it, do the research online. There's a few different methods. It starts off in a bleach and water mixture. The bleach starts burning it off, and it's got to be just the right amount of time. If you go too far, it'll burn right through everything, apparently. And if you don't go not long enough, it won't take off the flue. But it goes from a bleach bath into a baking soda and water mixture, which neutralizes what the bleach has been doing to it. And then again, for the right amount of time. And in cold water bath, or just run it under the sink, from what I understand, works well. I don't use that. Again, do the research if you want to try that. I don't tie that many stripped pearl flies, so I'm very simple. I simply use this method that I'm going to show. Put this on a little post-it note. Got a paper towel handy. I use a razor blade, or pardon me, an eraser, pencil eraser. I usually, when I do this for myself, I don't have the pencil on it, but this will extend things so you guys can see what I'm doing better. And it starts getting filled up, so I just turn it over to the other side or wipe it off on the paper towel. Turn it over. Go some more. Okay, now I pretty much got everything off of that side of the herl. I'm going to turn this over. See if I can get the other side. Okay, that's certainly a long enough section to get the body, actually, I should say the abdomen of the fly wrapped. Let's go over to the Vice camera. This would be a much tighter view There's a fly, by the way. Create this body portion. So we've got, looks like pretty good majority of the flew off. So I'm going to set this over here on the side. Put it on the clothespin so it won't go anywhere. Is a TMC 2487. It's recommended to be tied 18 and smaller. I'm going to tie it on 16. Easier for me to do on camera, easier for you to see what I'm doing. I like to go down to a small thread, small diameter thread that will flatten well. I want a smooth underbody. What I'm using is a Vivas 16 aught. That does flatten pretty well. It reminds me of the ultra thread. That's flattened out very nicely. It's great for a thin body. Run a thread base back here, a nice smooth one. I'm going to go back too far. And I get our peacock curl that we stripped. There's one edge of this is darker than the other. I believe that would be the dark edge right there. I'm going to go up to some heavier magnification here. Bear with me just a sec. Okay, yeah. There is the edge that is the darkest right there. That's facing the rear. I'll be needing to shorten this, of course. Come in and do it now, get it out of my way. Too much thread out again. Tighten up my tension on my bobbin. Speaking of the bobbin, I'm going to put it in a bobbin cradle. And simply going to wrap the body. Touching turns. If I started this off correctly, we should have a segmentation body is wrapping. Yep. Hold up right there. It's actually more than I need. Let one more wrap go in front of the thread, so all I have to do is go take one turn, that ties it off, and turn behind, and clip off the excess. I'm going to back up to tie in my thorax. Need to be about a third of the hook shank, which I believe to be about right there. Now, simply got one of the peacock curl that has not been stripped. And there's the tip. There's the tip. And here's the butt end. I'm going to cut this off. And I want if you notice, there is a side that has brown stem showing through, and here's the section of the flume. I want that brown section to be forward. Spin my thread counterclockwise so it'll cooperate with me. Obviously going to be too long. So I'll go ahead and try to do this so you guys can see. And I'm simply going to wrap this peacock for the thorax section. It turns. Back off a couple with the thread. One in front, angle it toward the rear. Simply take a turn, ties it off. Excess. But don't be shy about maneuvering your hook in a vise. Different angles, make different tasks better. This way, do the whip finish. It's not going to fall down. The thread's going to want to stay up on top as opposed to drooping down. Come in and tight clip that. Clip that off. So there we have peacock, stripped peacock and Herl. Okay, that brings us to the second fly. Designed as a trout fly, works great for that. Frankly, I use it and fish it as a minnow imitation in my small local streams for smallmouth bass. Great for that as well. I'll show you what the fly looks like. It is a Jack Gartside fly. It's a Gartside Sparrow. Again, it's fairly easy to tie, very effective in water. And I'll explain the materials as we go along. As you see, the portion of the body there is going to need dubbing. And I will show you how to mix dubbing. I do get questions from time to time. What method do I prefer as far as mixing dubbing? And the answer to that would be a combination of two different methods. So I'll show you. You can mix it by hand. You can mix it in a coffee grinder. I'll show you. I'm going to show you both methods. This particular pattern calls for a mixture of squirrel and light and hare's ear. What I've chosen is squirrel, natural gray squirrel, and light hare's ear. So hare's ear, gray squirrel, 2-part squirrel, 1 part hare's ear. Now, all you really have to do, put the 2 clumps together and blend them by hand. And just keep going until you don't have any large blotches of either. Now, I do prefer, actually, to start off in a coffee grinder. And I left this dryer sheet here, because if you utilize that to wipe on the inside and out here, and I find that the dubbing just flops right out. Much easier when I utilize that. So I just drop this in. And I like to use short blasts. Let it fall back down as you can. Fall back down. Some tires will just push the button and let it go. And from what I experience, its centrifugal force just throws it out on the side, and it really doesn't get mixed up as well as when I do this. All right, so let's get that out. how that just all just popped right out without clinging to the side. Let me put this away. Our dubbing. Now, sometimes I do like to go in and blend this a little better with my hands. I'm pulling it apart, stacking it on top, pulling it apart, stacking it on top, and just keep going until you get it to where you're pleased with it. And now I have lately been blending a lot more dubbing, and I use there's a dubbing rake, and I rake dubbing from Natural Critter, and I ended up with quite a few. And instead of chasing these bags around and wondering for sure what is in that, I found where I could buy some of these dubbing boxes. It's just like what you buy when you buy an assortment of dubbing, and you buy it empty. And these are all mixtures or rate dubbing methods that are mixtures that I've used. And like a mixture or hey, yeah, a legend that shows me what I've got in which section. And I do have some of this mixed prior, and I do like to blend the new small batch in with whatever I have left over. Now, there's a substantial amount of dubbing, and that can be used on several different patterns, and it doesn't have to be used on just this pattern. So there's my dubbing that we're going to use. I'll put that over here. And back to the vise. I'm going to get the fly out. And what I'm going to be using is Daiichi 710. It's a size 12. That's what I'm going to tie on. Daiichi 710. It's a 2X long. Nice long nymph hook. Recommended tie from size 4 down to 14. I'm going to use a size 8. Pardon me, I correct myself. I'll use 70 denier in orange because it shows up a little bit better than a tan or a black or than a tan or a gray on this background. Suggested colors are olive, brown, orange, black. I'm going to use a pheasant skin marabou for the tail. Actually, I'm going to use a pheasant skin to get everything else that I need for this fly, except for the dubbing that we just mixed. So off to the bird cam. This is a pheasant skin, full skin, excluding the tail, wings, and head. These are the rump feathers down here. We're going to utilize those. And I'm going to get my marabou off of the lower portion. Usually grab two. There's one. But you can see it's very much like marabou that we use. The strong marabou, the blood marabou. And then I'm going to use a rump feather. This, of course, the head would be up there. The head used to be up there. And this is the rump section. Now, you don't have to buy a whole skin. However, I did find these quite inexpensive. You can buy just the rump section. You can see where that would fit right in there. And if you don't want to spend the money for that, you can buy just these rump feathers that are strung together, much like the marabou that we get. So that is going to be the bulk of the, well, it's going to be the rest of the fly. And we will need a aftershaft feather, which I'll show you when we get to finding a rump feather that we will use. And I've got some marabou that's already sorted out. Got two. I've clipped together, and you can see I make a pretty nice tail. I get them evened up. Like this does have a curve to it. I like to go curve side to curve side. I like the tail about as long as the full hook shank hook. Now, the thread I want to start at the fourth of the way back. Just about anyone that comes into my tying class that's even never tied a fly can pretty well pinpoint the center of the hook shank. So with that same logic, we could probably also reliably find the center of this front section. So I don't go any further than that. That's just kind of a landmark for myself. I don't go any further than that until it's time for my hackle and my head section, which would be the aftershaft feather. Tail, full hook shank length. I don't remember what I said before, but that's probably wrong. Okay. This bound down, try to keep it on top. That might be a little bit long. I'll shorten it up a little, but I'm not going to worry much about it. Now, I do want to bind this material down to utilize it as to build up some bulk in the underbody. And we all know I can fight this. Take a wrap, twist it back up, take a wrap, twist it back up. I like to just go forward. We'll stop just a little shy of that 1/4 spot. Gather these. Pull this up. Down, tighten it up. And there is I'll refer to it as underbody. It's just put a little bulk. Now it's a very simple matter of coming back without that twisting around. Just bind that down. Okay. Now we need some dubbing. That we next up. Hare's ear. I want to dub a fairly thick body. Much thicker noodle. This is more like a beginner noodle. You want to bug in. I do want a bulky body. Now you could, if you want, put a piece of wire in this. So counter ribbon. That makes you feel more secure about the body. I don't have any problems when I fish this thing coming apart. All right, so there's our body with our dubbing. Next, we want to have a collar. Utilizing one of these rump feathers. I'm not going to bore you with my fishing through this and come up with a decent feather. I did find one. Most of these have what's called an aftershaft feather. I think this one will have one. Pop him out, see what he looks like. Yep. Got two. All right, this one has an aftershaft, and that one has an aftershaft. What I'm talking about with the aftershaft feather. Maybe I should scoot this. There's our feather. And On the back of it is this little aftershaft feather. And we're going to use this for the head section of the fly. Now, I don't always use the aftershaft feather, but I don't throw them away either. Got a little container that I keep them in. I'm not going to use that feather. So we'll pluck his aftershaft and put it in the box. Now, when I need aftershaft feathers, for whatever reason, got them. Back to the vise camera. And I've got one that I'm going to use. I got these gray fibers are a little bit longer. I got to take notice of something. Is this stem making real thick here and much thinner down here. These, what's real thick isn't going to want to wrap around the hook very well at all. So we're going to scoot down and use just these fibers for down here. You want to mount this down, concave side down, I should say. And just like if I'm going to tie a soft hackle or a dry fly, I want this prepared so there's more barbs taken off that side than this side. That's the lead in when I'm going to start to grab. So I've got this red spun corded up properly. I'm going to go ahead and run this back. A nice even platform to wrap this on. Raise this up. Similar to tying a soft hackle. I do make these nice and long. These are supposed to come back to the tip of the tail, if I recall properly. One wrap, maybe two. Maybe two is what I've added. Jack in his book does say one. Bobbin over. Excess. This might be a little bit long, but we want to provide some good movement in the water. Okay. Next, we need the aftershaft feather. But I had one picked out that was fairly thick. I do. Here we go. I'm going to strip this. I just lean back here. Now these aftershaft feathers are extremely fragile. Don't be surprised if I break one. I like that for covering yourself from a mistake. I'll just tell you it's possibly going to happen. I'm going to stroke this back as I wrap it. Build up a bulky, as bulky as I can get head section to this fly. I'll come right on up to the fly area. I'm going to go one turn in front of that thread. Snapped off in my finger. I think I caught. Yeah, I caught it in time. Okay, so I'm just going to clip this excess stem out. All right, I'm going to hang this hook upward. So it keeps my finishing wraps going in the direction I want them. get the hook back in good and tight, but I believe I can get to a lip finish here. Get rid of my extra thread. And there's a very long collared, I should say, Gartside Sparrow. There's the one I showed you to begin with. Here is much collar action going on. So there we go. That's what I had planned for this session. If anyone does have any questions, please feel free to jot them down in the comments below once we get to YouTube, and I'll be more than happy to answer the ones I can. So hopefully you'll join us next month again. I'm going to get things done in a much more timely fashion and hit the record button when I'm supposed to. So thank you for showing up.